Throughout the latter half of the Cold War, the world's oceans were the undisputed domain of the United States Navy. The ultimate symbol of this dominance was the carrier battle group, a mobile projection of American sovereign power, a floating fortress capable of delivering overwhelming force to any coastline on Earth. At its heart was a nuclear-powered supercarrier, a mobile airbase for nearly 90 advanced aircraft, including the formidable F-14 Tomcat, an interceptor designed specifically to defend the fleet. This centerpiece was protected by a multi-layered screen of escorts, Ticonderoga-class cruisers with their revolutionary Aegis combat system, a squadron of destroyers and frigates hunting for enemy submarines, and deep below the waves, 2 or more Los Angeles-class nuclear attack submarines silently scouting ahead. For the Soviet Union, a continental power whose navy was historically a subordinate force, this armada presented an existential strategic problem. Matching the U.S. carrier for carrier was a technological and financial impossibility. The Soviet Navy's most critical task was to protect its bastions, heavily defended areas in the Barents Sea and the Sea of Okhotsk, where its nuclear-armed ballistic missile submarines hid. Guaranteeing a second strike capability, the American carrier groups, with their long-range strike aircraft and potent anti-submarine capabilities, posed a direct and lethal threat to these bastions and to the Soviet homeland itself. The Soviet problem was therefore not how to control the world's oceans, but how to neutralize the single weapon system that could dismantle its core strategic deterrent. Facing an opponent they could not match symmetrically, Soviet naval strategists embraced an asymmetric doctrine, the saturation attack. The guiding principle was that a relatively inexpensive missile could sink a multi-billion-dollar American aircraft carrier. This concept evolved into a terrifyingly complex plan to overwhelm a carrier group's layered defenses with a massive, coordinated multi-axis salvo of supersonic anti-ship cruise missiles. The goal was simple: launch more high-speed threats than the F-14s, Aegis cruisers, and close-in weapon systems could possibly intercept. To achieve this, the Soviets developed a fearsome arsenal, including air-launched missiles that could scream towards a target at over Mach 4.5, carrying a massive 2,200-pound warhead that could be armed with a tactical nuclear payload. This doctrine was not dependent on a single platform, but an integrated kill chain. Enormous Oscar II-class nuclear-powered submarines, carrying 24 massive anti-ship missiles, were designed to silently stalk American carrier groups. Long-range supersonic backfire bombers from Soviet naval aviation could launch their own salvos from hundreds of miles away. And finally, powerful guided missile cruisers were built to lead surface action groups. Soviet designers envisioned an even greater vessel, a new capital ship that could hunt carriers independently or act as the command and control hub for the entire hunter-killer triad. The physical embodiment of this doctrine was Project 1144 Orlan, the Sea Eagle. Officially a heavy nuclear-powered missile cruiser, its mission was unambiguous: to hunt and destroy American aircraft carriers. The result was the largest and most powerfully armed surface combatant built anywhere in the world since the Second World War. Displacing a staggering 28,000 tons, it was so immense that NATO analysts classified it not as a cruiser, but as a battlecruiser, a designation not seen since the age of dreadnoughts. The Kirov-class was designed as a self-sufficient task force in a single hull. Its heart was a combined nuclear and steam propulsion system. 2 nuclear reactors provided virtually unlimited range, while oil-fired boilers could superheat the steam to push the massive vessel to an astonishing 32 knots, fast enough to keep pace with any warship afloat. The ship's main battery consisted of 20 P-700 Granite missiles, NATO codename Shipwreck. The Granite was a technological marvel, with a range of over 600 kilometers and a speed exceeding Mach 2.5. It could carry either a 750-kilogram conventional warhead or a 500-kiloton nuclear payload. Its most revolutionary feature was its networked intelligence. When fired in a salvo, one missile would climb to high altitude, acting as a spotter and designating targets for the others, which remained low to the sea. If this leader missile was shot down, another from the swarm would automatically ascend to take its place. To protect this offensive power, the Kirov was a fortress. A long-range air defense umbrella was provided by the S-300F Fort system, with 96 missiles ready to fire. Closer in, a mix of point defense missile systems and 30mm Gatling guns formed a final wall against incoming threats. Its anti-submarine suite was equally comprehensive, with rocket launchers, torpedo tubes, and a hangar for 3 helicopters that could also provide over-the-horizon targeting for the Granite. Missiles. Imagine the frigid waters of the Norwegian Sea in a hypothetical World War III. A Kirov-class battlecruiser detects an American carrier group. 20 Granite missiles erupt from its foredeck. The U.S. response would be swift. 2 Hawkeye aircraft would detect the high-flying leader missile, vectoring F-14 Tomcats to intercept. The low-flying attackers would be met by the electronic wall of the Aegis cruisers. Any missiles that leaked through would face a final, desperate barrage from the fleet's point defense systems. Success for the Kirov would have required a perfectly executed surprise attack and would have come at an immense cost. Despite its power, the Kirov was not invincible. The ships were astronomically expensive to build and operate, a heavy strain on the struggling Soviet economy that limited the class to just 4 hulls. Their complex systems were a maintenance nightmare, and as a single massive target, the Kirov was a tempting prize for America's superior nuclear attack submarines. The collapse of the Soviet Union was catastrophic for its navy. The lead ship, Kirov, suffered a reactor accident and was laid up, never to sail again. The second ship, Frunze, also fell into disrepair. For years, they rusted at pier side, potent symbols of a superpower's faded glory, before finally being slated for scrapping. Of the 4 mighty battlecruisers, only the last and most modern, Pyotr Veliky, Peter the Great, remained in service, becoming the flagship of the Russian Northern Fleet. In a stunning display of naval resurrection, Russia began a massive modernization of the third ship, Admiral Nakhimov. 2014. After more than 2 decades in mothballs, the vessel was gutted. The iconic Granite missile launchers were ripped out and replaced with up to 80 universal vertical launch system cells. This transformed the ship from a specialized carrier killer into a multi-mission strike platform, capable of firing a deadly mix of modern cruise missiles, the subsonic Kalibr for land attack, the supersonic P-800 Onyx for anti-ship warfare, and the game-changing 3M-22 Zircon hypersonic missile. Its air defenses were similarly upgraded with navalized S-400 and Panzer M systems, making the reborn Admiral Nakhimov arguably the most heavily armed surface combatant in the world. In a final, ironic twist, the rebirth of Admiral Nakhimov likely signals the death of its last remaining sister. The cost of the modernization has been so immense that Russia has reportedly canceled plans for a similar refit for Pyotr Veliky, facing its own high operational costs. Pyotr Veliky is now expected to be decommissioned once Nakhimov officially rejoins the fleet. The story of the Kirov-class is a microcosm of the rise and fall of Soviet naval power. Conceived as the ultimate answer to American carrier supremacy, its journey through the end of the Cold War, its near demise, and its spectacular rebirth is a testament to its enduring design. Today, a lone sea eagle prepares to return to the waves, a solitary titan armed with hypersonic weapons, sailing into an uncertain future. Its legacy is one of audacious ambition, a reminder of a confrontation that never was, and a question mark for the future of naval warfare.